signed several names. I think we're going to kind of get into a few of them, but I
Yep.
want to start right off the bat with Cade Mays.
Yeah.
That was, if you will, the splash of the group, the multi-year deal of the group. And so, more than anything, what did you ID with Cade that made him the right fit, particularly at that center position where I think there was a clear need?
Yeah. It started off with basically looking at the totality of all the available free agents in general. And so as you're working down like a pool of lists, then you start getting to a vertical stack and rankings of guys. And the more that I started to look at Mays, the more I had so much appreciation for really how long he had been playing the position and how better he kept getting. And, you start looking at, okay, what is our identity offensively, and what have we had at that center position, and bigger guys that can anchor. Obviously he's got the intangible qualities. He's tough, he's instinctive, he's athletic, all those things. But for our quarterback, a guy that can anchor in the middle is huge. And so that's why he kept kind of staying near the top. And so when you start looking at the kind of the vertical rankings, you're like, okay, all right, you have the guy that got paid the most money. Okay, you got him there. But when you start looking at the gaps in terms of who's 2 and 3 and 4, those gaps start getting a lot smaller, after you get past one guy. And so then that's when Mays just kept making a lot of sense. And so I think he makes a lot of sense for offense. I think he's still got upside. I think he can still get better. And so we're really happy to get him. And you have to also play those scenarios with, yes, obviously that was an important position to acquire this free agency. But okay, how can you get him and get some other players as well? And then those are the scenarios that you're also trying to play out.
So just wider view free agency. You guys hand out 14 free agent contracts, all but one were one-year deals. That's generally how you guys have operated in the past. And we should probably pause to mention that most free agent contracts in the NFL tend to be one-year deals. But can you explain to our larger audience why those one-year deals fit your team building plan right now?
Yeah. So, we have trying to think I'm trying to find the most concise way to explain this. We knew what kind of financial constraints that we were in entering this. And it had to take a lot more looking at everybody from top to bottom. When you have more money to spend and lesser constraints financially, you can do a lot more focus on just the mid to upper echelon guys. And you don't have to really you can get to the, let's call them tier 2 and 3 and 4 guys a little bit later. But when we're looking at the constraints that we had financially entering in, it's like, okay, all right, we're not going to be able to do a lot of multi-year deals because for what we're trying to do with these extensions that we have upcoming, the implications that it would have on our cap would be I don't want to call it crippling, but it would have been hard to overcome. Guess I could say. So we were kind of limited in how many multi-year deals that we actually could get, and that takes apart. We can want that, but then the player and the agent has to agree to it too. And so it's not like you're looking for prove it kind of guys. But you can find a lot of good football players that maybe have started out playing some good football and had some bumps in the road, and then they're kind of get it back and they want to just do a prove it deal. You factor an age into that. But it did make a lot of sense of where we're at from a financial constraint standpoint.